Hello and welcome to Tesori Home. Today we are bringing you our next episode in our series Design Within Reach, where we tour everyday people's homes to show you that you can create a home you love within your means. Today I am so excited to share Karen Emile's beautiful home with you. You might know her on Instagram as Milk and Honey Life, and you may have seen her home featured in books such as Sacred Spaces or Sense of Place. Her home is so warm, so earthy, and so inviting. It's bathed in light, and we're so excited to share this beautiful space with you. Let's see what Karen is up to.
Hi, Bridget.
Hi,
welcome.
Karen. Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Karen, for inviting us into your home.
Absolutely.
Just like even being here, just walking through it feels so peaceful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm just so excited to hear the story behind everything.
Absolutely.
But I'd love to start by, I just want to know your story. How did you get into loving design and loving home? Where did that begin for you?
I think it stemmed from when I was very young with my mom. We didn't grow up with very much, but she would go and we would do a lot of thrift store shopping and everything she would kind of collect for the home, and we would antique and paint it and do whatever with it, and we would make it beautiful. She taught me how to make really not very cute things very pretty, and from then on I just kind of like grew with me, and everywhere we would go she would be like, oh, look at that, look at that. So I think she kind of helped with my eye, not just seeing things for how they look, but they can actually become at some point. So that's where my love, I think, for the old kind of came in at a very young age.
I love that. I mean, you can see bits and pieces of that throughout your home.
Yes.
Like beautifully worn pieces or pieces used in such a creative way that you wouldn't expect.
Yes.
Is this something that you've always known this is your style, or how did you come into knowing this is what I love, the earthy tones, the warm coziness of it all?
So definitely the creamy colors and all that, that was from a very young age too. As soon as I got my first apartment, I really got to experiment on how I wanted things to be specific, and I have to tell you, from the very start it was like, that's what I was drawn to. It would make me feel at peace, just a creamier color. So it definitely wasn't like a fad, how it kind of came into the world now. It was always, since my very first apartment on my own, getting ready to do it, it was always those tones that kind of came in. And I would bring in colors, but there will always be the muted tones, the creamy blues, the pinks, but everything would be on a creamy tone. So I just learned to appreciate that palette, and it's just always been my own. I know what I like, I know what my eyes are drawn to, and I keep it there.
Milk and Honey, your Instagram name is Milk and Honey Life.
Yes.
What's the story behind that?
Well, honestly, it's very biblical. I read scriptures in the Bible, and it always talks about the land of milk and honey. So that kind of came to mind when I called it that, but also it had to do with my aesthetic and the colors. And I joke because at the time I knew I wanted milk. In the name it was always milk, but then even when I heard honey, I was like, oh, well, that's because it's for my husband. He's my honey, and he does everything and helps me with everything. So he's always the honey part of the milk too. So it's actually there's two different meanings to it, the biblical and also my own version of what the milk and honey is here in our household.
Oh, I love that. Well, why don't you talk to us a little bit about this space that we're in currently?
This is just a fireplace area here. And to be honest with you, this is probably the most untouched space in the entire house. This is original stone, so I didn't want to mess with it. When at the time most people were like, you need to knock all that down, and I was like, absolutely not, because it wasn't in style. And I was like, oh, I don't care about the trend, I just go with whatever I love. So I kept the stone against everyone's advice to tear it down. And it's kind of like just been the foundation here in this room, so I kept it. I wanted it to be rustic, but I also wanted it to be warm. And like I said, during the winters, this is where we're at. Like all winter long, that fire is blazing, and I do mean blazing. And so it's just a cozy little place that we all hang out. And this is where, if I have friends over, this is where we gravitate to a lot of the time.
Oh my! So where a lot of your pieces obviously look vintage or antique, where do you find most of the pieces for your home?
Everywhere. It can be from an antique store, flea market, on the street for trash day. It honestly it's from everywhere. I don't have any secret spot that I go to where I'm like, this is where, it's just something, and it's been collected. So like my brother gave me that from a house that was being torn down. And he was like, oh, I have a piece for you. And there it is sitting there, and that was like almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah, so nothing has to have great value. It's just kind of like the meanings behind a lot of the pieces that I keep. And as I mentioned, my husband hand builds a lot of the stuff too. So the island, so just a lot of the wood pieces he's actually put together too. Some of my stores I do want to mention is there's a store in Los Alamos called Sisters, and that's where I bought this beautiful primitive hutch. And they have a lot of beautiful pieces of sconces that are there too. They do a lot of like antiques and handmade stuff. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I love pieces like that.
Well, why don't we go over here? I would love for you to talk to us a bit about this. Do you want to create a beautiful home you love, but don't know exactly where to start? Maybe you feel limited by your budget, or perhaps you haven't quite discovered what your style is yet. Or maybe you just need that extra push to kickstart those home projects you've been putting off. If any of this sounds like you, we have created a membership community designed to help you grow and thrive in your home. In our community, we will help you refine your eye for design through our monthly live calls with industry experts, where you'll get to ask interior designers, stylists, and more your own questions in real time. You'll have access to design courses created to help you discover your style and teach you how to implement it in your home, along with exclusive content like extended cuts from our Design Within Reach series. Not only that, but you'll get to participate in monthly giveaway challenges designed to help you grow in your design, hosting, and hospitality skills. Get closer to the homes and people you love. Become the hostess you've always hoped you'd be. Take your dream home out of your imagination and make it your reality, all while having so much fun along the way. If you're ready to transform your home and start living beautifully and intentionally, now is your chance. Don't put it off any longer. Click the link in the description down below to learn more and join our community today. We cannot wait to meet you. Now back to today's video.
Yeah, so this was just a plain wall when we originally bought the house, and I told my husband I really want to do like a bookshelf. So he came out and it was okay, measured it, and he brought the bookshelf to where the vintage duck is at, or the swan right there.
Okay.
And I said, oh no, it has to come all the way up. No, it can't stop there. And he was like, no, it's not going all the way up. That's just way too high. And I said, no, that's my vision. So he did give into that vision, and he built it all the way up for me. So it's always a funny story, because I remember him looking at me like, you're not going to make me build this all the way up to the ceiling like that. But I love it, and he sees how much I've used it. And again, it's just curated with a whole bunch of collections and my son's art, and just different stories that I love, all about Taliers and Topanga Flea Market. So it's just a whole bunch of array of different stuff that I've purchased all around.
Wow. Now tell me a bit about your son's artwork. I mean, I've seen it, it's all throughout your home, so I'm excited to see more.
Yes.
How did he get into that in his...
Since he was younger, he's been pretty much sketching and coloring and drawing since he was about 5 years old.
Wow.
And he started filling up his sketchbook at a really young age. Like literally he would just, and I would sometimes go and look at it, and I'll be like, wow, these are actually really good. And he started telling me, I need you to get me these and this, and he was very specific on all the different art things he wanted. And I was like, where are you coming up with all this? Because he never had taken art classes. Like I was like, how do you? He's like, I just know, Mom, you got to help me like do this and do that. And that's kind of how it started. And it got to the point where he was like, well, I would like to, maybe show my art, and honestly, I prayed about it. I didn't know where to even begin with anything like that, because this is the first time I've ever encountered someone. He was so artistic, and I really just felt like God spoke to me and said, just go ahead and start showing some of the art on your Instagram. And it's kind of just went from there. I showed one of his pieces, and someone came to me and said, are you selling that piece? And I was like, oh no, it's my son. And yeah, that oh no turned into a lot of oh yeses. Wow. Because people started really asking about purchasing his art.
Now, where can people, if they want to purchase his work, where can
they can go onto his Instagram. He has Through Aiden's Eyes through Instagram, and on there it'll have a link to go to his website and everything. But usually people just contact him on Instagram, and that's how he starts orders. And
I'm so excited to continue to see more of his work as we walk through.
Yes.
So this is the main living area.
Yes.
Now tell me a bit about this space. I would love to know where this couch is from.
This couch I had custom made right before my last child, River. We wanted something bigger, and I had little French couches like this before in my old house, and everyone was determined that we needed to get definitely a sectional. So it's been with us since River, and he's 6 now, and I just recently had it reupholstered. So that's what I also love about if you get a good custom piece made. It's withstood dogs, children, everything. It's an amazing couch, and I just love how you can switch out the linen. So everything's washable. Just throw everything in the washer, so I'm never worried about puppy prints and children, and it's all good because it just gets washed.
Yes, I think that's what's nice too about having secondhand pieces, right? You don't have to be so precious around things,
yes,
you know?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And I love this piece over here. Where did you find this one?
This was a flea market find actually at Rose Bowl. I saw it and I absolutely loved it. And so this is one of those pieces where you really, really can buy things on a budget, because at that time we had just moved in and my budget was like not too much for anything for this house at the time when we remodeled. So I went in there and I found this piece for $150. And I have to share that because people think, oh, you have to spend so much money or you have to do this. But if you really search and you go around, you can find amazing. He told me this came out of a barn, and I believed it too. He was like, this just came out of a barn. Like, I'm not kidding you. And I was like, I'll take it.
Yes, perfect for me. That's amazing.
Yes. So it's one of those pieces. And if we ever move it somewhere, it could be anything. It could be an island. It could be a console, whatever you want it to be. I just love taking something that people won't typically, in my bathroom when we show that, I have like a fish wire net. It's a vintage, and I remember buying it, and the person was like, what are you going to do with this? You know, this is to catch fishes. And I was like, yeah, I already knew. I said, it's going to go in my bathroom and I'm going to put my toiletries in there. And they were like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought about something like that. So I love using, if I see something with the patina or something that I like, I'll use it unconventionally. And I think that's a great way to just kind of make your home stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you feel, I don't get this from just meeting you. I don't feel like this is something that you struggle with, but I think a lot of people sometimes will have these creative ideas and these inklings and then feel like that's crazy, that's weird.
Yes.
Do you feel that way, or does that like kind of drive you?
No, I am definitely, I have always been kind of outside the box, and I'm very comfortable there in that little space. So, yes, I just remember always someone always being asked, well, what are you going to do with that? Or what are you going to use that for? Or why are you buying that? Or I'm like, because it's going to serve its purpose, I promise.
Yeah.
And everything that I've ever bought has always served a purpose. And I think that's what's so important about making your home special to you and cater to your family, because you're just not buying just because you're like, I have to have it. No, it's because I know exactly like what I'm going to do with this, and it's going to serve its purpose. And I switch things around. I may have bought it for something, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm going to use it outdoors. But if I love something, it'll travel. It'll just travel throughout every room, every outside. It'll just travel, and that my things don't get turned around very fast. I keep things for a very long time. And I'm proud of that. I think it's a wonderful way to live. I think it's wonderful to be able to really keep things and be able to show your children, like, you don't have to like completely revamp everything all the time. Like, learn to use what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what timeless design is, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not like there's not one thing that's timeless. What's timeless for me will be different from timeless for you.
Yes, absolutely. Here is my kitchen. When we originally bought this house, there was a huge wall that went all the way across here and a little pocket door that you walk through, and the kitchen was like this corner right here. It was just like a little.
Oh my word.
So immediately, I knew these are all the original windows, and as soon as I kind of looked at that window and there was blinds in here and I opened them all up, I immediately was like, okay, I know exactly how this is gonna, like I said, something that just comes naturally. As soon as I bought this house, I knew kind of like how I was gonna work the space. Wow. So we started with, the sink used to be here, it was angled.
Okay.
And I said no, and this was, again, this is where, you know, if you listen to what people are telling you to do and you don't follow your own vision, you're gonna get stuck with something that you may not absolutely love. And I knew that I would push over the sink over here to this wall because I wanted to have open shelving and I wanted to be able to look at my collection when I'm washing dishes, or because that's what I like. My eye likes that, and I like the, you know, looking at the windows. So immediately I laid out this part first, and then I kind of went around and said, okay, you know, we're gonna put the stove here, and there was this pantry didn't exist. My husband built this out here, and this actually used to be a door coming out to the hallway. So I told him, I don't care how tiny the pantry is, I just need to be able to walk into the pantry, even if I have to squeeze myself in there. So, but honestly, it houses everything, and I don't have obviously a lot of cupboard space or anything like that. I love that it houses all of my, you know, my food, the snacks, the microwave. Yes, I get asked that a lot. Do you have a microwave? Yes, it's in that pantry. So this, even the items that you don't want to see too much, is still, I make it work in there. It's very functional. And I knew that I wanted an island as well. So my husband built this out for me, and absolutely love it. All my dishes, my cups are all in here. It houses everything that I need. This is where we gather. The kids will sit here. All my baking is done here. I mean, you could see how scuffy it is now. It gets used like a lot. So I love having this here too.
I would love to know where your lighting is from in here. You have all these.
Yeah, so these were, I had seen some lighting when I went traveling to Tulum, and I came back, and my girlfriend, she has an Instagram handle. I kind of asked her, she was making bowls at the time, the paper mache bowls, and I asked her, hey, do you think you can do like a light, create a light from it? And she was like, yeah, I don't see why not. So we kind of like, I kind of sketched out a few things that I wanted, and she created these.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she created these.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that. You have the woodwork from your husband, you have the lights from your friends, you have the artwork from your children.
Everything, yes. It just makes everything very special. And that's the thing. I feel like when you really know what you like, you're just not going to buy. You will wait to see or to find like those special pieces or those people that can make those special pieces for you or create that. So that's the reason why I feel like a home evolves slowly. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to, like, there's certain things in this house that already my head's like, well, I would like to change that out, but I will wait until I find that person, or until I find that light that I really love, and I won't rush myself at all. I just don't believe in that, because I think that's where you kind of become like that changing all the time. Oh, okay, I just bought that temporarily, I'm going to replace that later, I'm going to replace that later. It's like, just try to focus on maybe taking your time and finding people or whatever it is, vintage, handmade, whatever it is that you really want to put in your home.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to go over to this corner a bit and you talk to us. I love how these, you've mixed and matched all these chairs.
Yes.
It's such a fun addition. It adds so much character, I feel.
Well, my husband built the dining table. I know it's covered right now, but it is it's a wood table. The chairs, I couldn't even tell you where all these chairs are from, because they've literally been picked up from everywhere. So I honestly, every one of them has been from somewhere out. None of them are a set or anything like that. Originally, when I thought of this idea, I was like, I love all kinds of different chairs. I can't commit to one chair, so why do I need to? Why do I have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the time, I was like, I'm just gonna mix it up. I don't have to commit to it. My whole house is mixed up. The chairs can be mixed up too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the collection of the chairs started. And then I was like, okay, that's called a dining table with chairs, with all kinds of different chairs now. So again, this is where you kind of think outside the box and you create what you love. Everything doesn't have to be matchy. You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, but that's not going to look right. It's going to look, it's going to look a certain way, but this is you. This is me. This is what I appreciate. So. So we'll begin here. This is Brooklyn's bedroom, my daughter, and she actually she sketched this out on a piece of paper, and I know I have it somewhere. And her dad put this together. I didn't have anything to do with this set at all, actually.
Wow.
She knew what she wanted, and she sketched it out, and her daddy put it together. So, and this was during the time where we had those stay-home orders. So we had to make something very functional for her. And so he created the desk and her nooks, and it's just a space that she loves, and she just enjoys it.
How would you advise people to approach designing their children's bedroom?
I kind of let my kids tell me a little bit of what they want to see in their rooms when I'm putting it together. Obviously, when they're younger, when they're babies, I kind of like make it come together and make it function for the both of us, since I'm going to be the one in there all the time.
Right.
And as they get older, then it kind of shifts a little bit. But Brooklyn, she this is a perfect example of a little girl who's now evolving. And I just say again, don't spend too much money on doing a child's room. Try to do more, something that will last, but don't do it to a point where it's like, oh, this is going to be such a minimal time, because they are growing. I don't like anything that people say, oh, I spent too much money on that, so now I have to live with that for the rest of my life. So this is why you should be so wise about what you're putting in, what you're doing, because if you follow that trend, next year, it's probably not going to be in style anymore.
Yeah. No, these curtains are really catching my eye. Where did you find these?
Honestly, these were an online find. They're not very expensive at all, and she told me she wanted ruffle curtains. So we just went on a little search and she picked it out. These are, again, not expensive, but obviously, one of the things that I do always say is, especially for to make rooms look a little bit more elongated, is to bring those curtains all the way up.
Smart. Yeah.
So I got them extra long, and they look so beautiful because of the way you put them together.
Well, this is so sweet. Why don't we go into the next bedroom?
Absolutely. So I'm going to bring you into River's room. So pretty much everything here my husband built. He built the armoire, and he built the bed for him, and the little slider underneath where we keep his toys or whatever. And then a lot of the other pieces are all vintage finds. And again, there wasn't any real method to this room. It was just like making it comfortable for him, and definitely the handmade always plays into. This was actually stuff he built for his nursery when we lived in our other house. This is the kids' bathroom. So here it was a Jack and Jill. So again, this was another space that we just kind of made, 2 sinks here, and all the mirrors, everything in here has been antiqued as well. Wow. And just a very simple space, but I love it. It works for them, and they really enjoy it. So here, let's go into, this is our primary bedroom. This bedroom is very calming. So, if it was up to me, all the kids' rooms would look like this.
Yes!
No, I just love the very calm. So it's a very simple space. It's not that large, But again, just my husband built the bed, and all the pieces have been collected, and every one of these is pretty much all vintage in here. This came from like my husband's apartment, and I kept it. I was like, this is amazing, so we'll keep that. And so just a simple bedroom, but I do love simplistic bedrooms for sure.
What would be your advice for people for adding some character and dimension while still using more muted tones?
I would say art, flowers for sure. In this case, like even even adding little covers on furniture. That's a rustic table, but I wanted to have a little bit softer look. So you throw a cover, simple, quick, it just gives it that feeling, a little bit more texture to it. Lighting also, don't forget bedrooms and lighting. I think a lot of people don't focus on that in bedrooms, and it's more like for the main living spaces. But a nice custom light or something just a little bit outside the box can also make a very simplistic room a little bit different too.
Yes.
This is the master bath. And we kept the original layout here in this bathroom, and I already knew coming into this home my staple pieces. So these were like my dream pieces, that I had written down from years and years and years. And so they came to life here. So the cast iron sink here and the bathtub, I absolutely they were non-negotiable. So they were here, and I absolutely love them. And I really, this is my space. This is like really, really where I come to unwind. And again, this is where we bring in a little bit of the rustic. My husband put the shelves in. So again, that open idea, bubble bath, pretty bottles, makes you want to like come in here and take a bubble bath. And again, you want to add a little bit of texture. This is where I kind of add a little bit of color. The vintage curtain, that was actually, I made that curtain, and I just found the material and I loved it, and I was like, it's very simple, but it was something that I added just to add a little bit of that color.
And I also love that you got these
sticks. My branches.
As a curtain rod.
And those are literally sticks that my kids have picked up on walks. So again, these are the things that I'm like, you really can use everything, and everything to me has a meaning behind it. Flowers, where I keep talking about, if you want to add a little pop and you don't want to be committed to any kind of the walls, get your color from your flowers, your art pieces.
Love it.
And it all kind of comes together, where it still feels, to me, it still feels very easy on my eyes, and it's not like, oh my gosh, this is too much of a change for me. But this is all colors that I'm like, yes I can enjoy these. This is my spot right here.
Wow. Having this outdoor space, I imagine, is just...
It's amazing, yes.
You feel like you're enclosed with all this nature.
Yes.
So what was this before?
The pool was already here, so the pool we kept exactly the way it was, and I kind of had to work around the pool, but it was just grass. All this was just grass and a whole bunch of overgrown trees all the way throughout. None of this existed. So I knew that because I came from a property it was on a hillside, so I had to get very creative with it. And coming into this flat property, I was like, I wanted to build like little nooks where you kind of go and hide out, like coming up here or going if you wanted to, shower after so that's where kind of the idea of like the kitchen and different little areas to gravitate to kind of came into play. So I designed the whole backyard myself. Wow. And this is just what I sketched on a piece of paper.
That's amazing. I think that's a really hard thing, is taking a flat yard and building it from there.
And giving it a little character.
What gave you inspiration for this?
Travels.
Okay.
Definitely travels, and a lot of daydreaming about, different backyards, of course. But travel for sure, because I would go to different places and I would see like the outdoor kitchens. I was very Mexico influenced, and I just wanted to bring that. So I just kind of just started creating from there.
And that pergola, is that something you added?
No, that was
there?
original. And actually, when we did the renovation for the backyard, I was originally going to take that down and do like a different kind of awning, but then they told me this is wisteria, and usually it is very bushy. It's not right now, but typically you'll see it's I've shown it before, and they told me, well, we have to take all the wisteria down, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a no.
Yeah.
So that was again one of those things where I was like, it's not worth changing, because that wisteria, when you come out here and it's full, it is breathtaking. So I kept it.
I'm so glad
I didn't
you
touch
did.
it. I was like, no, that's off limits. We're not touching it.
Oh.
I loved seeing my family, my nephews here, jumping all over this place with the kids. Yeah, it's definitely somewhere where my family gravitates to, and I like to have this space for them. I came from a single mom, and she worked really, really hard to do the best that she could, you know, at the time. But I also do believe that even though we maybe didn't grow up in the best area, she made home like very safe for us. And I kind of carry that through here, just trying to make sure that I bring that for my kids and make them feel wherever we're at, that it's a safe place. And aesthetic is just one part of the home, but definitely it's behind it, the heart and the soul, and the presence of me personally, just having God here with us, you know. So this area, I knew that I wanted an outdoor kitchen. My husband actually built the entire frame of this place. I didn't know where I was going with this at all. I literally, when I tell you that I sketched on a piece of paper this whole thing, my husband literally looked at me like, I can't do this with you all the time. But he figured it out like he always does with me. So we work together really, really well. So even though my brain is like very simplistic and I just sketch out, he'll be like, okay, I got it. So he built this all out. We went and got, you know, we found all this old wood, and we just had a company come in and plaster the whole thing. So this is actually concrete that they smooth out. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's not. It's stucco. Sorry, it's stucco, smooth stucco, Santa Barbara stucco. So we had a company come out and put all that in after he framed it all in, and we love it. I mean, it's just another space where when we're outdoors, we get to entertain in here.
So special. You have. So all the wood you find, like your husband's projects, where are you finding this?
Everywhere. We do, honestly, like he'll go down the street and he'll see a dump truck full of old wood and he'll be like grabbing it. Yes, he has what I call his little hoarder stash that he keeps, and it always comes to play. The wood always comes to play. So he always, like all these little benches you see, he built them, like the little over there by the olive tree. These are all like driftwood, you know, just wood that we find all around. But this one specifically, we did buy from a place in North Hollywood that does, that sells this kind of wood, old wood. So this one we did find there, but a lot of it he literally finds everywhere.
Oh my goodness, I want to live back here.
I know, I always tell people I can actually live here. I'm thinking he could just build me a little room in there, you know? It's ready.
It's perfect. Oh, so beautiful. Now, and then I imagine you host here in this corner here with all the dinners.
Yes, we do. We do al fresco nights there, and yeah, it's always fun. I love it. I love outdoor spaces, and that's another thing where you don't limit yourself. You know, I know a lot of people, they focus on the inside, but there's so many different things that you can do with the outside too. It's just you can carry out that style outdoors as well.
Yeah.
So don't limit your mind frame to only like, oh, I can only do that, and thinking outside the box. You can put regular pieces that you would put inside, bring them outside. You can move it around, you know?
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's an extension of your home.
Yeah,
it's like another room.
Extension. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Karen, for taking us through every bit of your home. Has been so magical and so unique and inspiring. So thank you.
So welcome. Thank you for coming over.
Of course. I also love that you just sat down on this chair. We're like, oh, by the way, this is from my brother's backyard. So I just love that. I just like that you just see beauty.
Yes.
No matter where it is.
No matter where it is.
And
The key to life.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, in design or in life
Yes.
too. So I would love to know, what is something that you hope people feel when they come into your home?
Definitely peace. Yeah, definitely just the peace, which, you know, I've worked very hard to have that in my home and reflect that in our home with myself and my husband and my children. And I just, that's usually the first thing people say when they walk in, which is amazing, because they usually feel like, they just say, oh my gosh, it feels so peaceful in here. And that's definitely important.
Why do you think people feel that in your home?
I think it's something that we carry within us. I don't think it's something that you can just make up, or it's something that you carry, and my home carries that because it's a piece of all of us. So it just carries that throughout.
Yeah, I feel like something you've touched on is the aesthetics is one thing, and
Yes.
obviously it's so nice to be surrounded by beautiful things,
Yes.
but home is so much more than that.
Absolutely.
The feeling comes
Absolutely.
from the people
Yes.
and the love you put into
Absolutely.
it. So that is just so special. How do you feel that, I know that with homes, a lot of it is storytelling, you know, you walk into someone's home and you're getting to understand their story. How do you feel that your story is represented throughout your home?
I think my home represents me in the sense of everything is very different. It's all just very collected, and it all has a story behind it. And I feel like that's kind of how everyone's life is, you know, it's not just one-sided, it's all different aspects of it. And I bring that in with all the stuff that I bring in our travels and meeting different people and what I'm inspired by. And there's no like just a one-stop shop. It's just everywhere, and it's what I'm drawn to. And I may not be looking for it at the time, and I'll be drawn to something, and I'll know exactly like where it's going to go, how it's going to come into our home, and I love that.
Thank you for that, Karen.
Yes.
Well, this has been so nice. And if any of you want to connect with Karen on social media, you can find her at Milk and Honey Life on Instagram. And make sure to check out Aiden's work. We'll put his handle down below as well, through Aiden's
absolutely.
eyes. And again, if there's any pieces that you saw in Karen's home that you're wanting to know where you can find them, we'll put a link down below for that too. But
Absolutely.
this has been so nice. Thank you for
Thank you
being
so
so
much.
generous and sharing your home with
Absolutely.
us. Yay!
Yay!